Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all the honor, the praise, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, or Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great Millstone who are well. Peace, salutations to the elect scattered abroad. Alright, this is the brother Barbazal here with a lesson. Your willingness edifying, alright? So, the title of this lesson is going to be, the Lord, is ready to, judge the 2/3 or the 2/3 multitude of our people, right? And, with everything going on, we at a good place with prophecy right now, man. This guy, DJ, Trump, he's making moves. All right. And he's making moves on our people. All right. And, we've been trying to tell, our people, this whole time, right. What's to come. All right. What's the Lord ready to do, and, what they can do to, get out of it, right? Or what they can do to have that, that spiritual hedge. All right. But we have a stiff-necked, hard-headed people, that's, ultimately they're not going to get it, unless they, get that whipping stick, coming from the Lord. All right. What this guy Trump is doing now, first, he was focused on, the Northern Kingdom, through ICE and, things of that nature, right? And, the Southern Kingdom, they thought they were good. They weren't thinking that, once, Trump, made moves on the Northern Kingdom, that he was going to the Southern Kingdom. All right. Which we know that, this guy Trump, he has a hatred, a deep hatred towards our people. All right. And we're trying to warn our people this whole time. The brothers had that, that saying, right? The Northern Kingdom first, Southern Kingdom worse. Right. And we're seeing that. All right. Now you got Trump. He made, DC, the capital, right? What's known as, the capital of Babylon. All right. A police state, which that's a step closer to martial law. All right. And he's been making moves, man, putting a lot of, Jakes to jail. All right, ready to put a lot of Jakes to death, man. All right, and where's this all coming from? All right, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's read Jeremiah 7:25. It says, "Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt unto this day, I have sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them." All right. So what's happened is, so what's happened is, the Lord, he sent men, out there as vessels, to push forth the message. Right. And, time and time again, this is nothing new. Right. Because, it's been many times where the Lord has sent prophets, and our people didn't listen. All right. Until, the only thing left was, to judge our people. You see? So verse 26, it says, "Yet they hearken not unto me, nor incline their ear, but harden their neck. They did worse than their fathers. Yeah. And especially now, man. All right. You know, we live in the most evil, wicked time, you know, that's you know, ever, you know. And, you know, and our people, you know, partake in that. You know, they have a big hand in, you know, the wickedness, you know, going on in this kingdom. You see? So this is Jeremiah 7:27. It says, "Therefore thou shalt speak all these words unto them, but they will not hearken to thee. Thou shalt also call unto them, but they will not answer thee." You see? So no matter what we say, all right, you know, the Lord, you know, he's pretty much put that spirit on our people, man. All right? He's put a spirit on our people to you know, to go off. All right, Salaki, those you know, disturbance in the video had to get cut off, right? But this Jeremiah 7:28, it says, "But thou shalt say unto them, this is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their God, nor receiveth correction. The truth is perished, and it is cut off from their mouth." Whoo. And man, you know, the same it's the same thing today, you know, if not even worse. All right, you know, Jake refuses to be corrected. All right, so the only way, you know, the only way that Jake can be corrected is through, you know, the judgment, you know, that the Lord has in store for our people, right? And our people's gonna get hit with famine, pestilence, you know, the sword. All right, you know, the missiles. All right, so our people's gonna get hit, you know, in all type of ways, man. This is 1 Peter 4:17. It says, "For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh?" Yeah. You know, because we coming into a time of Jacob's trouble, you know, which is a tribulation period, you know, which is mainly, you know, to judge our people. All right. You know, and the heathen, you know, started with Esau, right? You know, they gonna get their judgment, you know, but it's gonna start with you Jakes first, man. You see? It's the book of Isaiah 10:5. It says, "O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation," right? And pretty much, you know, you could say that in a way that the modern day Assyrian is the Edomite, right? You know, because the Edomites, you know, are currently in rulership, and the Edomites is who the Lord is going to use, you know, as the whipping stick, you know, towards you know, the rebellious, you know, the rebellious 2/3 multitude of our people, man. All right. And the people, and, you know, they don't see it that way, you know. You know, and you know, it's going to come a certain time where, you know, our people going to know that, you know, we was out there, you know, preaching the truth, you know, that we were the prophets, you know. But at that point, it's going to be too late, man. You know. You know, they already, you know, dug their own grave, so to speak. So this is Psalm 17:13. It says, "Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword." And Esau, he's known as Esau, you know, his he's known for his sword, right? You know, that was his blessing that he was given, you know, to rule by the sword. All right. You know, he's definitely, you know, about to use it on Jake. All right, because we're coming into the time of martial law. We're coming into the time of you know, Esau coming with that great wrath. You know, Esau pushing that NWO, right? You know, which is to get everybody C-hip, you know, fully in control, right? So pretty much, you know, those are the times that we coming in, you know. And if you ain't right, hey, you know, and if you ain't right, you know, you're going to get caught up in that judgment, you know. That's why it's important to be circumspect, all right? You know, you know, do what we can, you know, laboring in this faith, you know, so we can be deemed worthy of salvation, because that's what this thing is all about, man. That's the reward that we strive for, all right? But that'll do with the lesson. So Lord willing, it was edifying. So with that, give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Rakakwadash. So one.